Once again, Baby Steps, one of the best episodes of this week of anime. Even with a slow episode that was kind of a lot of setup and talking, managed to once again be in the top 3, my personal top 3 episodes of this week of anime. Good job, Baby Steps. Oh, I love you so much. I love you, Baby Steps, so much, because I can always look forward to a very fucking great episode of Baby Steps every week on Sunday. It never really disappoints me at all. And that's a shocker, because usually when I get pumped up for a lot of series sometimes they don't live up to all my expectations, and it's just rare to see Baby Steps continuously pumping out this high quality. Just makes me happy. The only problem with Baby Steps is the animation and art, but we all know that by now, and not even gonna get into it. But let's talk about the episode. So, Baby Steps. If you don't know now, this episode, I love the Nabae Eii-chan dialogue. I'm a big fan of that ship, and I love it so much. Just seeing them communicating, talking, building and strengthening each other, it makes me so happy, because it's been so damn long since I saw a series that had a romance start like this and just so early. Besides, a romance series like Ore Monogatari, I'm not going to count that series. I'm talking about like a series that's not really focused on romance. For instance, Baby Steps. And to see how Baby Steps just tackles and dives right into this romance, Nabae and Eii-chan, their dynamic between each other, and then how they're building upon each other to increase their strength, and just, it makes me happy to see how their relationship is growing and how it is progressing smoothly. It makes me happy to see that, because it's such a cute couple, and it's something to really enjoy on the side besides just tennis matches. I mean, I love tennis. I love this series so much when it comes to the matches. It's just, oh my god. If we didn't have the romance, I don't really need it. But having the romance on the side of the series adds a huge bonus of enjoyability when it comes to it, because it adds a different outside dynamic besides the tennis all the time that we can appreciate when it comes to our characters. So, the first half of the episode, or the beginning half, was kind of like Eii-chan realizing a new way of motivation, and how he has kind of probably gotten so good in recent months and years is probably because of Nabae cheering him on. For instance, Eii-chan comes to the realization that the reason why he's probably so good right now, why he's improved so much, is probably because he used to look at Nabae as like his idol, and he probably still does. He looks at her as his idol, and he was trying to realize, like, he wants to catch up to her. He really wants to catch up to her and get on her level, and he has now kind of reached that point to where he is on Nabae's level, and they're now both getting stronger by being in a relationship with each other, because they're using their romance to get stronger. It makes me happy to see that. But it's not just that, though, that really makes me enjoy this series, too. It's also the great build-up between the characters. See, sometimes when it comes between match episodes, like, something like this, before we get into Nabae versus Eii-chan, we know we're gonna get, like, some form of slow build-up, setup episode. That's kind of how anime work, or even manga. It always works like that, to where you have that, gap right in the middle of everything, to where it's kind of slow, and it builds up everything, and that's what this episode really is. It just getting straight to the point, cutting out all the fluff. This was a setup, build-up episode. That's what it was. But it managed to make it very interesting, and Baby Steps always does this by adding a dynamic to the characters to where you can really understand, like, their motive, what they want to accomplish, and what is really riding on this upcoming battle, along with building up your emotions and hype for the next match. Like, that's what this episode was, building up my hype, because Nabae's flashback just goes to show us what type of person he was, and how much he has also improved, alongside of building up Eii-chan, and how good he is, and how much he has grown as well. For instance, when Nabae was actually looking at his research, he's like, this person, Eii-chan, has grown so much, he's like a prodigy. He's a prodigy when it comes to tennis. He's just blew up out of nowhere, and in terms of everybody right now playing tennis, he's the biggest threat. And he's probably the best. He's like a shining light that no one can really beat at this moment. I mean, Nabae is the best player in Japan right now, according to what was said, and he's like the #1 player. Can Eii-chan defeat him? That is the question we all really need to wonder. And it makes me wonder if the series is going to play the role of letting Eii-chan win or try to be realistic. Because the way this episode is done, to be truthful, I'm just going to be really honest here. The way the episode is done, it makes it very apparent that Eii-chan is going to win. Like, the way it sets it up with Not-chan, and then, all sets it up with Nabae, and how he says he's getting into the zone, and, different things like that, how Eii-chan was saying these certain things, how other people were talking about him. It just made it all too obvious. It looked like Eii-chan was going to be the victor. Like, it seems like it's said and done, and he's already won. That's how this episode really looked to me, because there was a lot of flags like that. But I can't really look at Baby Steps like that, for many reasons, because Baby Steps has used the uncliche many times before, and so I'm on the fence about this episode in certain ways, because I'm on the fence if Eii-chan really is going to win this upcoming match, because will the offer really allow Eii-chan to win against this person, Nabae, that is the #1 player, and could Eii-chan really defeat this person? I mean, if Eii-chan beats Nabae, he pretty much is the best in Japan, and do we really necessarily want that already? That is the question. We know Eii-chan has worked hard. He's worked his ass off to get where he's at. I don't think any of us can deny his effort. But in terms of being the #1 player and only being a couple years, I just don't think it's right at this moment for Eii-chan to step up to that plate and being the #1 player. If he won, I'd be all ready and happy for him. I would, because he deserves it. But at the exact same time, I just don't think at this moment Eii-chan should really move into the #1 spot of Japan. I feel like he should have more training and be able to learn how to become even better. And that's what I feel, because right now what's really striving Eii-chan on is his motivation to reach those people above him. And that is something I want to mention. If you have goals as a person, let's say you have this huge goal in your future. You're trying to reach this giant-ass goal that's way in the sky, but you can't reach it. You can barely grab it, like you can barely reach it, but you can't really get a hold of it. That's kind of what is going on here. See, when people have motivation to motivate themselves to reach for that hard-reaching goal in the sky, usually they perform better, or they excel better at what they're doing, and they continuously improve. And that is what Eii-chan has done. He's always had these goals inside of him, to where he's constantly trained, to where he was trying to catch up with Takuma, and then Not-chan, and then now, Nabae. He's always had these goals, and these goals have always made it to where he strived to get better. And what happens to a person that has these high-stake goals all accomplished? Think about it. A person without any goals has no reason to continue on. You always need a reason, and you always need a goal. And that is one of the main things in life everybody needs. And so can Eii-chan really say, should he, win this match? Because if he won this match, of course he would have the goal of becoming pro, but what would he really strive to be better than? Who would he strive to be better than? See, if he beats, one of the #1 players, that means that he really is one of the best. What does he have to strive for? Of course, there's many things out there, but the question is, does Eii-chan know of it? So yeah, that's my thoughts of this week's episode of Baby Steps. Very good, and I enjoyed it, as you can tell. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please be safe. Chibi out.